Hey friends, it's Angela, the Inquisitive Farmwife, and I'm excited to be playing around in the kitchen today. I've got my Amish friendship starter, and I'm going to make us some delicious cookies today. We are also part of a collaboration with I'm Merely Melissa and Christy's Farmhouse. It's part of the monthly collaboration that they hosted last year. They're continuing this year, and I've been joining along for fun. And today, this month's theme is Valentine sweets. So let's make some sweet cookies. So first thing, let's go ahead and take care of the starter. So yesterday was actually day 10/1, where you feed the starter the 1.5 cups, you divide it out and start baking with it. Well, I was too tired yesterday, so that didn't happen. So today we have a very full bowl of starter. That's okay. Stir this down, and I'm going to get a cup of our starter out here. So add that to my mixing bowl, and then I'm being kind of careful how I dip it out because I'm wanting to get a second cup to hopefully make a second kind of cookie. We'll see how my day goes. I'll go ahead and cover it up. And the direction says we need a cup of softened butter, which is 2 sticks. This just happens to be my homemade butter. And I have a video. I'll link an iCard somewhere. If you didn't know, I have my very own dairy animals. I have goats and cows, and this was made with cow's cream. I have made goat's butter one time, and that's when I said I need a cow. Cow's milk cream is much easier to separate than goat's milk. 1.5 cups of sugar. I will put a link to this recipe where I get it from, the website that I've been using. I'll link it down below, along with, I'll tag my friend Renee, who started me on this starter. And the next wet ingredients is eggs. And my chickens are not laying as much, so I'm getting out my freeze-dried eggs here. And I have found that when I go to reconstitute them, if I can whip them up a little bit, that it's more the texture of a regular egg. And that's 2 eggs, by the way. Go ahead and lock this in. Put on my paddle to my KitchenAid mixer. That's the mixer I use upstairs, and we'll get it going. The recipe we're using today is snickerdoodle. So I'm going to sub out a teaspoon of cocoa instead of the cinnamon to give this just something a little different. A teaspoon of baking soda. 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that off. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of a lip here. So we have 1 and 2. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Probably about that much. 4 cups of flour. This is just your regular all-purpose flour. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I have a feeling this could make a mess, so I'm going to go ahead and put my little cover on to try to help with that. And I'm just going to mix this all together, and then we'll be back. They state that it will be a sticky cookie dough, but putting the sugar on there will help with this. So I'm going to trust the process. It's definitely a full bowl of dough, so I think it'll make lots of cookies. If I didn't say it already, the oven is preheated to 375 degrees. What I have going on here is a while back I made bundt cake, and it said to take cocoa and sugar and make a mixture, and wow, I had lots extra. And then I happen to have just a very little of this Twix powder, so I'm going to add that in there also, and this is going to be our dusting sugar. So I'll mix these together. You can use the small scoop, but around here we like our cookies. So I'm going to go ahead and use the medium-sized cookie scoop. And then I'm going to roll in a ball in my hands and roll this in my dusting sugar and then put it over on my cookie sheet. Okay, we are at 2 dozen and I probably have maybe used half, and I'm going to get some cookies for the freezer. Because how nice would it be if company showed up and I could just throw a few cookies in the oven or air fryer. So what I'm going to do is the same as before. We're going to roll out our ball. We're going to cover it in our snickerdoodle topping. And instead of just leaving it like this, I think I will kind of pat it down just a little bit, because I think little pucks will freeze easier in the freezer, like this. Those look lovely. Now we'll just let them cool. So I have nearly 3 dozen more cookies in the freezer. I'm gonna put these in the deep freeze and then I'll seal vac them. My Avid Armor chamber sealer. Perfect. So here is our first 2 dozen, and then I have, I think, 3.5 dozen in the freezer. Oh, Twix-a-doodles. Let's give them a try. I'm gonna choose one that looks nice and chewy. Look at the bottom, perfectly done. Oh. This is a fun twist on a way to make a snickerdoodle. Okay, evening chores are done, and now we're gonna get to that second batch of cookies. This time we're gonna make like peanut butter cookies, peanut butter blossoms, you know, the peanut butter cookies we all like with the Hershey Kisses. We're gonna make those with the almond starter now. So the same as before. I'll zoom you in. I've got my eggs reconstituting here. If you want to know more about freeze-dried eggs, I'll put a link here for you somewhere. Really does come in handy when my chickens are not laying. I'm going to preheat the oven to 350 this time. So we will now take our 1 cup of starter, which we have ready to go. So we'll add that in there. We need to get a cup of peanut butter. So I'm just going to use this same measuring cup. It might not really be... Some people would say this is a liquid-only measuring cup. But you know, in my kitchen, if we get close, we've done good. Yep, there's our cup of peanut butter. So we'll put that in there. Let's see, some brown sugar. 1 cup of that. My little trick is I put the measuring cup in the bag. I keep my bags in my container so that I can use my hand to press it in tight, and then I don't get all sticky. And add your eggs. A teaspoon of vanilla. And we're going to go ahead and take and mix this together. And we'll let that mix for a bit. Forgot to put that butter in there. So we'll go ahead and add that in. Oops. Okay, take 2. So it says to, in a separate bowl, have your flour, baking powder, baking soda, salt, and then add them in. I don't want to do that. I don't want another dirty dish. So we're just going to go ahead and add it all in there. We need 2.5 cups of flour. Excuse me, 2 1/3 cups. So 1, 2, third. I might have just a little extra because I'm using natural peanut butter and sometimes it's just a little more runny. We need a teaspoon each of baking soda and baking powder. We need a half a teaspoon of salt. Put that cover on again because of the flour mixture. See if I can roll these up. I think I need a little bit more flour. It's just a little too sticky still. I think maybe I'd go ahead and do 2.5 cups of flour and see how that works for you. That's looking a little better. Once again, we're going to use the medium scoop, but even though I have some of this cocoa sugar powder left and I may use it at some point, I thought this would be fun. Just use some red sugar, and if you don't have this or have access to it or whatever, you can make your own red sugar really easy. You just add red food coloring to it. This is just something fun. I thought I would throw this little twist in there for it being Valentine's. Get my cookie tray. Make sure we can see everything I got going on here. And I'm just going to take a scoop. We'll just roll that in this sugar. Isn't that fun? This dough, using this friendship starter, is just so nice and fluffy. See, whoop, we'll just squish that down in there. And I'm going to do this and fill this tray. We'll do a couple together. But I wanted to tell you while I keep working here that if you don't have an Amish friendship starter, you don't want to get an Amish friendship starter, you can absolutely do the same thing with your regular recipes and just make the twist that I did today. So like, for example, we're going to go ahead and use this red sugar for Valentine treats, or, you know, if you're doing this, say 4th of July, maybe you want to use blue sugar or whatever. I hope that you just will be inspired by this. I'm going to go ahead and keep working on these, and we'll be back. I'm going to put these in the oven at 350, I believe, for 10 minutes. A couple here we're going to make with just the other coating, and I thought I'd go ahead and bring you guys along. I think these are going to taste really good both ways. So excited about this. I also wanted to show you what I did. I didn't think it was necessary to cook all these just like that. I did go ahead and do 3 dozen, and then I rolled the rest of the peanut butter balls in the sugar cocoa Twixie mixture. And so we have, I don't know, 1.5, almost 2 dozen. We do have some leftover Hershey Kisses. They don't always look good after being in the freezer. So these will just be peanut butter cookies and the the Twix-a-Doodles. Twix-a-Doodles. Okay, here they are. Our creative cookies, guys. I am excited about this. I think that your friends and family will enjoy these. Super tasty, fun treat. Something different. Better do a taste test. So let's try these. There's the bottom. Mmm. The larger sugar crystals definitely give it a different texture. And this is good too. Let me know if you try something like this. Okay, we have made it downstairs to the preservation station. We're going to get these cookies. I'm going to put them in some bags so that we can vacuum seal them in my Avid Armor. I ended ended up having 22 of these peanut butter ones with the cocoa powder on them. So I'll just put 11 in each one. Usually I do 12, and then I just lay them in my chamber vacuum sealer, and it'll do the rest. There we go. That's a little more snug. I like to get all the air out of these so that we don't have freezer burn as much. And then the other kind, let's see, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 5 is 30. So we'll put 10 in each. And now we can have these cookies another day. So glad you could be here today. It was fun being in the kitchen with you. We'll see you next time. Bye for now. There they are. We love them.